Let's look at another one. Let's look at problem B. Again, we always start out with our first term. Our first term is 4/3. The question is, how do you get from your first term to your second term? What's your common ratio is what we're trying to figure out. So how do you get from the 4/3 to the 2/3? Well, notice the 3 on the bottom isn't changing. So I'm not touching that. The only thing that's changing is the 4 turns into a 2. Well, that's your number on top. Well, ignore the 3's on the bottom. How would you turn a 4 into a 2? You'd cut it in half, which means you'd multiply by 1/2 or a half. That's your common ratio. Your R is that you're multiplying by a half. You're cutting the 4 and turning it into a 2. So your common ratio R in the formula is 1/2. We also needed that first term, which we said was 4/3. Remember the formula for the infinite sum, this means it's trying to figure out what the infinite sum would add up to, would be to take the first term, your a sub 1, which is 4/3, and remember you divide by 1 minus the R, which is 1/2. Well, the 1 minus a half on the bottom, we'd have to go get a common denominator. Well, the minus 1/2 is fine. It's the 1 that's the issue. You need a common denominator of 2. To get a common denominator of 2, it'll be 2/2. Well, 2/2 minus 1/2 will just get you another 1/2. Notice we have not even touched the top. It is still the 4/3, the first term. So how do you divide two fractions? We have 4/3 divided by 1/2. Well, remember dividing two fractions is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So you flip that 1/2 upside down and it becomes 2/1. Then if you have multiplication now, we can just go straight across the top and straight across the bottom. Straight across the top, 4 times 2 is 8. And straight across the bottom is 3 times 1 is 3. So our sum converges to 8/3. And again, we knew that this was going to converge because our common ratio R, which is a half, is between -1 and 1. That's how we knew it was going to converge. Let's take a look at problem C. Problem C is an infinite sum. You can see the dots